Ladies and gentlemen, Sunday, and that only can mean IGP's Super Formula Lights League, round 7 from Magny Cours. I'm JP. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Mr. Tom Cairns, who's going to come along for the ride on what plans to be an epic evening of racing. 33 laps of action. The magenta zone runs all the way down to coming out of turn 3, which is on the left-hand side of your track map. Then they're free to race. Obviously, magenta zone, no active overtakes. If you haven't been here before, that's what it means. Now, in the championship, of course, we only showed the top 20 because there is currently 150 people listed in my championship. Lee Aberdeen is out in front on 254 with Antonio Jimenez on 229. Ludovic Rancon on 223 with Kevin Zebstra on 214. Then Julio Palacio on 196. Andy Flint in 6th on 181. Bayadene on 170. Adam Townsburg, Denny Cornu, Jimmy DeSantos and Brad Fulliger round out the top 11. Townsburg, Cornu and DeSantos all on the same points. Mehmet Teske in 12th. Then Brent Ruiz, Dorian Oruro, Robert Ridgway rounds out the top 15. Eddie Amos, Simon Fessy, Richard Van Veen, Alexei Ilikish and Nguyen were on the back end, rounds out the final top 20. Let's welcome Tom into the booth after watching the Grand Prix this afternoon and seeing another Papaya 1-2. Do we think we're going to see another Lee Aberdeen, Tone Jimenez 1-2? Yeah, it is the summer holidays. I think they can be forgiven for the fact it is the summer holidays. Everybody goes through the same thing. Every league goes through the same thing. The summer holidays numbers go up and down like a busy elevator at Trump Towers and literally doesn't stop doing that. And that's the thing, I think, here, this one, because it is summer and people are on holiday, of course. And, well, apart from me and Tom, who are sat at home, sweating, commentating on this. Few minutes left to go. Tell us about Magny Cours. What do we think is going to happen here? Because I'm not a lover of this circuit, I have to be honest. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this could be one of the situations where turn 1 might bring up some sort of overtakes if you can get a run through there, through Estoril on the outside. Ludovic Rancon with a meatball there, not quite sure what he got himself up to. Let's say run down into Adelaide, you might be able to get down into Chateau, but yeah, you got to be well alongside that one as well. And obviously Complex de Liche at the back end of the circuit. Before we go in, if you are here, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bells, and do all that other fancy jazz that you can do for completely free here, as me and Tom are going to sit back and enjoy some of this action here that's going to take place at Magny Cours. How do you feel about Magny Cours? It's a bit of a mixture of circuits.
I mean, I quite like it. I mean, it's always one that's stuck with me. As we see Tony Jimenez come through, who looks like he's completing his last effort here. I don't know why Ludwig Ranson's got that black flag with the orange spot on it. Clearly he's running a car that's, yeah, meatball. This is going to be the reason. Yeah, there we go, look.
And then, even though he hit it side on, he's still got a meatball for his troubles. So that's a new meatball flag that's come out in a recent update. So if you see that, it means the car's broken. So let's just put it that way. They'll have to go in and get it fixed. on that one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an over lover of this circuit, I've got to be honest. The national circuit looks a little bit more interesting. It's basically an oval with a couple of chicanes in. And the short club circuit would be quite fun as well if we can get the different layouts like that. That would be absolutely awesome. But we are on the Grand Prix circuit, 2.74 miles, 4.411 kilometers in length, and we have 25 drivers on the grid. I don't think them numbers are not going to inspire great racing, Tom, as we normally end up with great racing regardless.
Well, we'll get some great racing anyway as we come to the end of qualifying. I don't think we are seeing any more drivers on circuit. Heading into the race now, and I'll let you run down the grid for the 33-lap race.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, right, here we go for this evening's grid, of course. It's going to be Lee Aberdeen on pole position, and Tony Jimenez in second, Ludovic Rancon in third, and Eunice Amal in fourth. Brad Fulliger in fifth, Kevin Swemstra sixth, Bayard in A seventh, Krish Patel in eighth, then Andy Flint and Jimmy DeSantos. Alexi Yukish and Julio Palacio round out the top 12. On from that is Robert Ridgway, Mehmet Taski, Koji Ito, Clark Williams, and Scotty Taylor, Eddie Amos, Adam Townsmad, Dorian Arura, Richard Van Veen, Patrick Rowlands, Jose Gill at the back end with Matthew Gracie. So that's the 25 ready to line up here, ready to get going, of course, and ready to bring us all the action once more. Who's going to come out on top, Tom? What do you think is going to happen?
There's only two in there for me, either Lee Aberdeen or Tony Jimenez. It'll be one of those two. But if we get any drama on the first lap, then that could play a role. But if we are to get any incidents, I'd probably say it's going to be in the midfield where it could all kick off. But they're very experienced, these drivers, most of which are anyway. So they should be able to get through the first section of the course without any drama.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see, ladies and gentlemen, what goes on. Just waiting for a few more people to get onto the grid. And then we'll be up and running and get this race going here as well. As I say, it's 33 laps represented on the left-hand side. You can see, we're just waiting for Eunice Amal, Scotty Taylor, Robert Ridgway and Jose Gill to join us. So let's get going and see what goes on at this race circuit. I think it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. That left-hander at turn one is very fast paced. They've got to be very, very careful. Otherwise, it's all going to go a little bit to Pete Tong. Just waiting for Jose Gill, who's not going to make it, mind you. Doesn't look like he has. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Ladies and gentlemen, we are green, green, green. Lee Aberdeen got off the line, going to go down into turn one on the right-hand side. Tony Jimenez alongside him there in second place. Then Ludovic Rancon and Amal with Fulliger tucked in right behind through the long looping right-hander of Estoril. Now we are up and running. Now they are free to race, and now it is green, green, green as they carry on all the way down that straight, coming into the first overtaking opportunity. Tony Jimenez is going to have a go at Lee Aberdeen. Aberdeen defending that line at the moment. Jimenez on the outside. Rancon in behind him. There's all 2 and 3 wide further back. They're going to try side by side. Aberdeen opens up the steering. He gives Jimenez something to think about before they go on the run up into Nervo. But right there and then, Lee Aberdeen sparked his intent. He weren't letting Jimenez through.
No, and that was always going to be trouble for Lee Aberdeen on the approach to the hairpin, because he gave so much of a toe, so much of the slipstream. It looked like it was going to be swamped by both Jimenez and Rancon into the Adelaide hairpin. Andy Flint has dropped down the order a little bit there. I think he was the one that got out of shape slightly on the exit of the Adelaide hairpin, but he has continued in 15th position. So there we see Rancon losing it a little bit there through the Imola chicane, and he has his hands full with Brad Fulliger, who is trying to take advantage there, but no way through. Kevin Strumster is at the order. Eunice Amal down 4 positions from his starting spot, so he has some work to do. For those who are new to this championship, no mandatory pit stops are required. It's a straightforward sprint.
Yeah, absolutely. Aberdeen through the chicane. Jimenez, Rancon in behind that. Fulliger, then Kevin Swemstra. Oh, Eunice Amal. That is not going to help him. He's going to lose even more places as Eunice Amal come out of that chicane. He's hit that curb on the left-hand side. So has one of the MRP boys. It looks like Richard Van Veen. Possibly Patrick Rowlands might have had some form of ta-ta-ta. But at the moment, there's not the only one. Clark Williams is in the barrier. Coming into lap 2, it's all gone a little bit. Pete Tong, Aberdeen and Jimenez again. Then further back, you can see Zwemstra alongside Ian as they go into the right-hander of Adelaide. Ian ran the outside. Zwemstra opens it up. covers his nose off and gets the job done there. Good job by Kevin Swemstra as he's covered that line from Ayan. Ayan trying to look back up the inside at the moment through the Nürburgring chicane, then through the 180, and he's not going to be able to get there at the moment. Let's have a quick look at what happened to Yunus Amau. I've got a funny feeling it was that outside curb top, and it's going to be a killer coming through that final chicane.
Yeah, so he's going to take some curb here. Well, he's missed the first curb, and then, yeah, he got on the grass. He got on the grass on the exit of the final chicane. He was lucky to continue. This is Richard van Veen, who spun in sympathy, and someone else tried to avoid him. Lucky, yeah, he did very well to not even run into him, actually. And further up the field at Estoril, Clark Williams had an off of his own. Oh, he's got off a long way. Carried too much speed. Yeah. Way too much speed.
Unfortunately for him, he has Lee Aberdeen out in front. Jimenez again through the final chicane we go once more. These guys running pretty much nose to tail. There's barely a second and a bit between the front four at the moment. You see it's just touching 1.4 seconds. Aberdeen's trying to escape, and you can see Jimenez is trying to close him up. Through the Estoril they go. Now the run on that down to the Adelaide's corner. Who's going to be able to make this through? Who's going to be able to make it work here? And at the moment, it is Lee Aberdeen. Patrick Rowlands has got to meet Paul Dorian. Oruro has had some issues at the same time. Jimenez, nope, can't make it through once more. Are we going to get a breakaway? Are we going to see Aberdeen rank on Jimenez and Fulliger maybe move away from the rest of the field? As I've got somebody blinking there, which is causing the timing tower a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, well, I would say Kevin Strumsher is one of those that's dropped down the order, which could have some form of bearing on how the race plays out in terms of the gaps in between the battles we are seeing. And we see the top four in your picture: Aberdeen, Jimenez, Rancon, and Fulliger. And then it's behind Ayan, who has made his way back into 5th place now as the Turkish driver. He's ahead of Alexei Yukish, who has performed brilliantly, actually, from the appearances I've seen him. Although when we saw him during the Fuji round, which is the last round I commentated on this championship, he was running very, very well until that spin at the penultimate turn cost him a lot of time. This is Kevin Strumsher. This is over at the Adelaide hairpin on the previous lap. And what has he done here? Has someone run into him? It looks like someone ran into him there. I couldn't quite see. I think that might have been Mehmet Taski that collided with Strumsher, and Strumsher, or that looks like an unsafe rejoin the way he moved there.
Yeah, that affected Ayan, Swemstra, Patel, Yukish, DeSantos, Taski, Palacio, and Robert Ridgway, all in that little drama because they all had to check up there. Matthew Gracie's having a right little bit of a ding-dong a little bit further down. He was having a go with Yunus Amau. Amau, of course, recovering through. Now makes his way up just that little bit more through Estoril as he clears Matthew Gracie. Lee Aberdeen, however, out in front with Tony Jimenez tucked in right behind him. Ludovic Rancon there, Brad Fulliger. Aberdeen's looking strong here, Tom. Never finished outside so far. He's pretty much been in the top 2 every single race. And that streak looks like it's going to carry on.
It looks like that it's going to carry on that way, provided he doesn't make any silly errors. Lee Aberdeen, it's rare that he does that. Tony Jimenez, who has been in the limelight, and looks like Kevin Strumsher has dropped down the order again. And it looks like he's gone back into pit lane. So it looks like he's had some form of off. Has the Dutchman. It's been a disastrous race so far for him. We'll find out what had happened to Strumstra.
Oh, yes, he has. He's had some drama.
This is over at Nürburgring.
Yeah. Oh, he's bounced the curb. The car's going to go round. Is there going to be contact? Yeah.
Yes, Constantina.
And unfortunately, round he goes, and then he just does enough and calls it a night. Alexei Yukish at the moment has got Krish Patel tucked in right behind him. You can see Lee using every inch of the track smartly. There's so much talent in this league. There is. I agree with you. As Krish Patel and Alexei Yukish having a good old go at each other a little bit further down in 6th and 7th place on the run down into Adelaide now. The right-hander here is Patel going to have a go. Is he going to look at which way he's going to be able to go? He's going to try an outside line. I don't know if that's the best line through Adelaide. I've got to be honest. I probably wouldn't be looking at that line if I was Yukish. Is he going to be able to hold it, though? Yukish is holding it. Patel can't get through. Patel will not have the inside line for the next part of the Nürburgring there at the same time. And it looks like Patel did manage to get the job done there. And Yukish really had the line. I'm quite surprised he's managed to finish that off.
Well, it was more than half a car's length ahead into the corner on that racing line, James. That's the ideal line you want to take, because when you go through the apex of the Nürburgring chicane, it's that high curb on the inside that you just want to avoid, because it's a big example, or a prime example, of how you can lose the car so much. So sensibly, it looks like Yukish got out of the throttle and just had to accept defeat on that occasion. But now it's a long way battle for 5th place. Bahinian Ayan ahead of Patel, Yukish, Ridgway, DeSantos and Taski. He was another 1.5 seconds up. Fastest of the race, Ludwig Ransson on home turf.
Yeah. I'm not shocked by that. I've got to be blatantly honest. I should hope he should be quick here, to be honest with him, on his home circuit. But then again, depends if he's actually driven this circuit before. Let's put it that way. Ramgon now sitting in 3rd place. And we've got Ayan, who's got his own little troubles of Patel, Yukish and Robert Ridgway. Ridgway in the back there with Jimmy DeSantos tucked in behind him. And then we've got Palacio, Ito, Amos, New and Scotty Taylor as well. All further back, but side by side, BNN, Ayan, Patel on the run down into Adelaide. Is Patel going to be able to make it work once more? He sends a car in deep. He's running it round the outside. It's Krish Patel. He's going to have the line once again here. Is this going to be deja vu for Krish Patel? 2 out of 2. 2 out of 2. He did the same to Yukish. Ayan's not going to give it up, though. Oh, Patel spins it. Patel spins it.
He's going to take some with him.
Oh, into the wall goes Krish Patel. Oh, he tried, he came, and unfortunately for him, the likes of Bayard and Ayan did not move over.
Let's have another look at that, because someone went through the gravel in avoidance. Oh yeah, it was off the circuit.
Let's try that one again, see if we can get that camera right at the beginning. That might give us a little bit of a better position. Oh yeah. Do you know, the thing is as well, the lead up to that is where he tried to do the same thing. And I just want to go back, and I'm going to do it this way because it's the only way I can find out how to do this. Now, he tries to do the same thing he did to Yukish. Yukish backed down. Ayan didn't. And this is where he had the trouble, because he thought Yukish, Ayan wasn't going to be there. And unfortunately for him, he still was. But if we looked at the same scenario where he got Alexei Yukish, you'd be able to see that he managed, and he got hit there with a big old dose of netcode. And on that last one, he managed to get Yukish out the way. And that's the thing. When he did the overtake the first time on Yukish, Yukish backed down. But when he come against Bayard and Ayan said, no, I'm not moving.
I mean, he came from well wide off the circuit. All 4 wheels were over the white line, James, when they came through the Nürburgring chicane, and he was basically on the painted stuff going through, and that explains why he had spun around so much. So if you look at his, all 4 wheels were over the white line, entering the corner.
This was the corner before. See, that's what he was expecting Ayan to do. That was the same overtake he did on Ayan that he was on Yukish that he thought Ayan was going to do. And Ayan said, no, I'm alongside. You're going to take me. You've got to go. And we're going to go 2 by 2. And unfortunately for him, Ayan was still there. He left him nowhere to go.
Well, that's Krish Patel's race effectively done. Back to the leaders. Aberdeen, Jimenez and Rancon are the top 3. Felica's dropped back somewhat from this trio. And it looks like Aberdeen is in command, even though the gap is only half a second to Jimenez. He's usually very, very good at managing these situations. Is the Aussie. And Jimenez, well, he knows, I can imagine he knows a thing or two. I mean, to be honest, James, if they're around about the same age as me, they should know this circuit very well from their video gaming experience from years ago, before iRacing was even a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't get to grips with this circuit. It's not high on my priority. Bayard and Ayan is causing my tower all sorts of problems here. Pasky and Santos and Andy Flynn are having a nice little bit of a battle down in 8th, 9th and 10th at the moment. I think Flynn may have had something to do with Kevin Zwemstra's incident a little bit earlier on as they go in through the Nürburgring, then the 180. That was short again. Kev, we were just literally talking about you, mate. You did roll over a little bit early though, son. So, you know, give it that one on that one. Krish Patel was there as well. We just literally analysed your moves, Krish. The first one, you managed to get Yukish to back out. Bayard and Ayan's made us tougher stuff, mate. He weren't going to move, and you had to take it side by side, buddy. And unfortunately, that was the situation. You know who to go side by side with and know who not to go side by side with. And Bertilla is one of them you don't go side by side with.
Gap between Fulliger and Ridgway's increased now to 9 seconds, whilst we see the top 6, the man in 5th place, Robert Ridgway, holding up Hayden Ian and Alexei Yukish. And Jimmy DeSantis keeping himself in there. Andy Flint is in 10th place now. Andy Flint, we've seen him perform his racecraft rather nicely in a lot of races, especially when he recovers from situations that don't exactly go the way he hopes to. But he's someone who keeps himself in there and wants to improve his position somewhat, but it's the fact that he's behind a queue of cars that'll make it increasingly difficult for him.
Yeah, I love Andy, and you know, I think for me, he can be either really great, like he is now, trying to go at Mehmet Taski and get him through, and then for me, he almost reminds me of a Maverick. Now, what a Maverick is, apart from Tom Cruise's call sign in Top Gun, of course, is somebody you're never quite sure what you're going to get out of them. One minute you come in and you get the best driver ever, and Andy Flint can finish up the standings. And then you get somebody who doesn't have a great race. Like Flint's positions this season: 21st, 16th, bad races; 7th, 8th, good races; 21st, bad race; 10th, good race. And he just goes up and down, and he is this Maverick-like persona where you can either have Andy Flint, the race car driver, who's going to go and finish in the top 10, or you have Andy Flint that sticks it in the wall and you'll have him below 20. You couldn't put a bet on him. If he was in a race and he was leading and you gave him a 10-second head start, I still couldn't bet my house on the fact that he would win it.
Well, I'll use my analogy then in terms of a mixture of good performances and bad performances. I tend to use the word Marmite. It's either you love them, or either you love it or you hate it. Yeah. That's the kind of prediction I have with some drivers sometimes, James. And but there it goes. That's Yukish getting through on Ayan at last. That Yukish through into 6th place, improving up and going after Robert Ridgway, who is probably going to be as high as Yukish is going to move up, subject to what is going on further ahead. But Ayan is doing his best to keep up with Yukish in case there's a further opportunity.
Yeah, I did wonder how, Chris, you ended up... Oh, there's the end of the move. Look, you can just see there, and then he gets hit. And I think that was a big old dose of internet that sends poor old Mr. Patel back into the wall on that one. But then there's so many drivers in here that you can say are consistent. Lee Aberdeen, Tony Jimenez, Rancon, Fulliger as well at the moment for this season. But then you've also got so many people that have been up and down. Fulliger's never, apart from Road America, has never been out of the top 10. You know, Aberdeen, as we know, has never been out of the top 10, top 2, which is just absolutely bonkers. Tony Jimenez, again, was never out of the top 10, apart from the Red Bull Ring, where he finished in 20th place. You know, and it's them races, you can see here, Jimmy DeSantis, Beard and Ayan going to go side by side. Santos does make it through, but I got a funny feeling Ayan may have got a slow down at that chicane, because he did back off going down into turn 1. And it's consistency with this championship. That's what you need. You need consistency. And at the moment, apart from Lee Aberdeen, who's never been outside the top 5, everybody else has been outside the top 10 or the top 20 at one point. And I just cannot see anybody getting close to this man at this season. I can't. He's driving out of his skin. He has been absolutely amazing. And I love Tony Jimenez to bits. And Tony loves this, and he knows I do from full well. But I just don't think this season he's going to be able to defend his championship.
I don't either. I think Labadine has everything within himself to extend his margin at the top of the table. Even when he does have one off day, he does have the power to maintain the consistency, because remember, each driver loses their 2 best scores, providing they've done every single race. This season we've got 12 races, they only count the driver's best 10. Aberdeen is not going to be stopped. It's as simple as that. And to correct you on the thing with Behind Iron, I don't think he had a slowdown, James. It's the fact that he went into the Lycée chicane before the pit straight very, very poorly. He was a very poor entry, which compromises line through there, and that was what allowed Jimmy DeSantis to get through before turn 1.
Yeah. by with the situation. Ian now tucked in behind. DeSantis again in through Estoril. They go. Then Mehmet Taski chasing down Andy Flint. Newen chasing down Scotty Taylor. As these guys carry on. Oh, goes a little bit wide there. And unfortunately for him, he's going to have to try and go once more. But then Ayan, however, is going to bring the action currently at the moment with DeSantos, who's going to come out on top there at the same time. And it looks like DeSantos is going to hold on. Is Ayan going to be able to close back up, though? But these 33 laps were already 12 in. The leaders still not very far apart here. And you can see Jimenez is only half a second back, 1.6 back to rank on. Aberdeen makes one little snap, one little mistake. Tony Jimenez is going to be right on him.
Well, it's rare that Aberdeen makes mistakes, and Jimenez, well, he's just waiting for that one mistake to arrive, should it happen. They're not coming up to back markers right now. I mean, the next back marker they'll be approaching is Patrick Rowlands, who's running in 22nd place, and he's on his own and not fighting with anyone. He just wants this race to be over and done with, so at least he's coming away with some useful points, given the reduced field for this evening. Van Son keeping in touch just about there in third place. Fulliger is maintaining the pace that he has set him. No improvements on the lap times within the field, but Robert Ridgway, Alexei Yukish is probably the closest battle we are seeing at the present moment. Personal best laps from DeSantos and Ayan. 1 minute 30.5 for DeSantis, 1:30.9 for Ayan. But what can Jimenez do?
Go faster. I don't know. That's literally the only thing he is able to do. Let's know YouTube chat what you think. But I think personally the only way he's going to get Aberdeen is go quicker. I think he's got to go quicker. He has to full bore this time around for Tony Jimenez to try and even remotely retain his championship. He has to be quicker. But Aberdeen is just on a different planet. This season for me, it's Hamilton, Vettel, Schumacher, Verstappen-esque, where he's just gone out and dominated. And that's what Aberdeen's doing this season.
Well, Jimenez has just got to dig deep. That's all he can do. He can dig deep and just keep in touch with Aberdeen. Don't push too much too soon. He's got tyres to look after as well. And we just see he's bringing wide a little bit there over the rumble strips on the exit. And now he's he's lost a little bit of ground at Aberdeen because he ran wide on the exit of Lysay. But there's only so much he can do. He can push hard all he can do, but all he's doing by doing that is taking life out of the tyres, and that's not a situation that Jimenez is going to like.
Maybe not. Eddie Amos in the back end here, chasing down Matthew Gracie in that Tron liveried machine, of course. Don't forget, there is a new Tron film coming out in October, if anybody's interested. I am, for one. And I will be going to have a look at the cinema, because I do love the Tron series. I will say now, don't go and watch the new Jurassic Park. It's absolutely rubbish, as I was there last night at the cinema. But Eddie Amos looking cool in his Tron liveried machine. And pulls away from Matthew Gracie and is on his way now to Eddie Amos. But I am, however, has got Andy Flint in behind him. So what's Andy going to do? What's he going to produce here? Is he going to give us Andy Flint, the top 10 finisher? Or Andy Flint, who unfortunately makes that mistake?
Well, we'll see soon enough from Andy Flint, who we spoke earlier about his racecraft, and he's making it work here so far, providing he can get through on Iron without any errors. Over the Imola chicane they come. The curves do catch you out if you get it wrong through there. That's sweetly done by Iron and Flint. Tusky is keeping himself in touch, but it feels to me like Yukish and DeSantis have scampered off the road from this lot. But you just see Ian. I mean, this is his least favourite part of the course. You can see that's the second time he's done that. Out of shape at Lysay chicane, and he's allowed the door open for Flint to go past. Flint didn't get past that time, but on another lap, that would have been Flint past. Yeah,
absolutely. I think Flint's got to wait and get his opportunity when he can. He's got to get the door wide open. He's got to have a go at Baird and Ian. And Ian's going to be, well, we can see where he's physically struggling. Now he's going to try that outside line. He's going to try the the old Chris Patel, I think, here. Is he going to be able to make this work, though, for Andy Flint? That's going to be the question. Sweeps around the outside. Gets the job done. And Ian also nearly loses that place to his teammate Mehmet Teski, who's in behind. Teski's going to try and come through as well. Ian's there, no doing. I hope these two are in voice chat, but Andy Flint got the job done on the outside there. Great move from him.
Yeah, good move from Flint. Very patient as well. And that's enough for him to move up into 8th position. He's got a few seconds to make up on DeSantos, but I think he has to go into defensive mode here just to make sure he scampers up the distance from Ian and Taski. But Ian, well, I think Flint should pick up on the fact that Ian has not been very quick through the last sector. So this is his golden opportunity now to pull away. Now watch for Ian, James. Watch his line through the lead stage chicane, because a couple of times it's been far from ideal.
Yeah. It's a difficult chicane. It really is a difficult chicane. It's a horrible chicane as well. Because as these cards have shown us, if you take too much curb, you're in trouble. And it bounces you and you can't do anything about it. Rancon and Jimenez have just swapped places and just about caught the end of that. And I've got a funny feeling he may have made a mistake there. He may.
I've got a feeling he might have had a kick of oversteer on the exit of Estoril, James.
Yeah, because he did that quite easily. Oh, it doesn't really show us. Oh, Yukis and Ridgeway. What have they got themselves up to here? This doesn't bode well, does it? Doesn't even look good that's going to happen.
Oh, dearie me. That's clumsy.
Missed his breaking point, and unfortunately for him, he ended up in the back end. Tony Jimenez now chasing down Rancon. Baden Ayan is now in the middle with Flint and Taski in behind. Flint has got the two Turkish iRacing Formula Team drivers tucked up right behind him. There, TIFT tucked in. Andy Flint trying to make the stay ahead of him at the moment. It's going to be very, very difficult. Yeah! Swing.
That was too close.
That was very close, wasn't it?
Yep.
Too close for Ian. Taski now. Let's see if Ian can get through the chicane without any dramas again. He does. He's very hesitant, lets the car run wide. They can go all the way to the left, looking at the screen now. There you go. Keep going. And through goes Baden chasing down Flint once more. Jimenez back up to the back end of Rancon as they're carrying on their little battle. Eunice Amau is on a charge back through, and he's got the Englishman for the Ridgeway Racing Team UK. Scotty Taylor in front of him at the moment. Eunice Amal's got to try and get up to the back end. Is he going to look at through? Taylor goes on the defense, takes that inside line. There's Flint and Ian side by side as well. Coming through Adelaide now. It looks like, is it? Yes, Flint does manage to hold on. Scotty Taylor loses the position to Eunice Amal, but they're not done here. Through the right, through the left. Now coming into 180. Ian closing all over Flint. Flint's got a job and a half on his hands.
Yeah, well, Flint is, well, you'd have thought he'd pull away from this lot, but no, Ian and Taski are sticking to him like glue. For 7th position, DeSantos is closing on Ridgeway further ahead. But this is the closest battle we've got on circuit, you know, between Flint and Ian. Ian going for it at Chateau Corner on the inside. Flint leaves him enough space. Oh, no! That's poor from Ian.
Oh, dearie me.
Well, you can't blame Flint because he left enough room.
Oh. Only one way. Over he goes, up, down, round. We're on our nose and we're sat on our head. Why can't we blame Flint? Ian hits the 8. Oh, I think he might get a little bit of wobble on Baden Ian on that curb. There is a massive dose of Tinternet in the middle. Because there is a gap at the moment. He flips over. But yeah, big, huge one there. Taski and Ian now scrapping around at each other. The TIFT boys. Oh, spinner in the back. That's Koji Ito. Has just gone round there. I think his sticker's missing on his halo. I think somebody stole it there on the parade lap. but Tusky and Ian having a good old go at each other. McZooms, I think there was a little bit of net code on there at the moment. He flipped over, but yeah, I don't know. Ian made the apex, but then as he went over the curb, he got a bit of a wiggle on that bumped him out into Flint. And then, of course, the internet took over, and next thing you know, we had Flint upside down, round and round, and on his roof.
Yeah, Cuchito spun again, James. He's back into the pit lane. He spun at the hairpin after Imola corner, that is otherwise known as the 180-degree hairpin. And that's his race done and dusted effectively. Yeah, I don't think Flint's done too much wrong. Yes, I can agree that, you know, he's turned in on Ian at that point, but Ian was a long way back. Make that move work in my book.
Ooh. Yeah.
I think Flint had the right to turn in the way he did. That's my opinion.
I don't think, as I said, I don't think there was anything wrong with the move in general. I think both people did the move. I think it was at the moment that Ian went over the curb, it bumped him out wide. And then, of course, there was the initial contact, and then there was the net code contact, which sent him upside down, round and round, and on his nose. But I think at the moment, I don't think either driver really did anything wrong. I just think it was unfortunate that Ian hit that curb, and as he hit the curb, it just pushed that car out a little bit wide, and unfortunately allowed the old internet to kick in and do what it did there. So, yeah, 6 of one, half dozen of the other, maybe no further action. That's about as far as I would go with it.
Whilst we were discussing that, Jimenez is back into second place. He's passed Ransom, who has now got Fulliger for company in their own squabble. Ransom's lost time on this. He's lost 3 seconds on that last lap. He's made an error somewhere, has Ludwig Ransom.
Oh, he has. He did.
This is over at Nürburgring. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Watch the snap. Oh, such a pathetic spin as well.
Yeah.
Them spins are the most annoying because they're slow and they absolutely look rubbish. And then you just can't do anything about it apart from try and stop them. And then it's just pathetic. So, yeah, not good there for Rancon, but managed to hold on. Just goes to show how far he was ahead, though, because he managed to hold into third place in front of the rest of the field.
One driver we've hardly spoke about in this race is Palazzo, who's ringing P9, and he's on the rear of the 2 Turkish iRacing Formula team drivers of Taski and Ian for P7. And Andy Flint, after that coming together you had, or when he went upside down, he's back in the race now, is Flint, albeit down in 20th position. He's probably going to just go for a fastest lap or something like that.
Yeah, but don't forget, if they can stay... Is he a lap down? It's not a lap down yet either. So he's well in his rights to carry... Oh, he's just gone a lap down, Andy Flint. As long as he's 1 lap down, he will score points. So that's one of the things they've got to look out for as well. But, you know, if you're there, why not carry on? Have a go. You know, if you're up and about and you're racing and you can still race, you know, you don't quit out, then go for it. Keep going. I think that's the best way to go. Get some points on the board. With a short field, you just never know what's going to happen here. And Julio Palacio is in behind Taski, who's in behind Ian. This is the closest battle on the circuit at the moment, as these guys continue to fight for 7th, 8th and 9th.
Well, there goes Taski on Ian. I think this is a planned move between the 2 Turkish drivers. Kushito back in the pit lane as well after his run, so it looks like he is not going to go any further unless he wants to stick on another set of tyres and go again. But Lee Aberdeen, through all the drama, has been able to extend the margin, and I highly doubt that anyone's going to come close to him. He can afford to back off if he needs to, just to preserve the tyres for the last remaining laps. Further down the road, we've got Matthew Gracie and Dorian Arroyo. I think Gracie has passed Arroyo, or it might have been the other way around, although Arroyo's got past Gracie on this lap. Oh, spin!
Oh, that was Iron spinning.
Yeah.
Palacio gave him a little bit of a bump as well. Eunice Hamau's now coming at him. Oh, how bad was the Palacio hit, though?
He hit him quite hard, I think, James. Hence why Irons picks up damage.
Oh, he looks like he may have done there as well. But then Ayan's got the meatball, in he goes into pit lane. Oh, not good. Now the field is getting more and more spread out. Matthew Gracie, closest battle on the circuit at the moment, chasing down Dorian Ororo as he's at 16th and 17th place with about 11 laps to go here. And these guys scrapping it out further down. Everybody else getting a little bit further away from each other now, Tom, as well.
We've not got long left. We've only got 12 laps to go. Ian has rejoined the race in P12, so it's not lost too many places, actually, thinking of it. And he's on a fresh set of tyres. Is the man who's been running in the top 10 for so long in this race. He's going to have to go again and chase after Nguyen, who I've not really spoken enough about either, the Unity Racing driver. But it's been a fair race, I would say, throughout this. And Ranson looking good for a podium on home turf. Fulliger has been in 4th position ever since the beginning. Tomin Jimenez now with a new fast lap of the race. He's starting to reel down the gap on Lee Aberdeen, but it feels like it's going to be too little too late, I think.
Yeah. I don't think Jimenez is going to be able to get close to him. I think this is Lee Aberdeen's another first place for Lee Aberdeen. Not like, you know, he hasn't had enough this season. He's had 2 wins and 4 second places. This will be 3 wins and 4 second places. We've lost Ito, Patel, Swempster, Gill. Gill not taken to the start line, of course. Never made it on that. But at the moment, you can see here Matthew Gracie, Dorian Ororo continuing their fight. Even they're dropping a little bit away from each other at this moment in time. Townsman's gaps going up and down as well to Eddie Amos. Amos in behind him, teetering on around about a second. But is this going to be one of them tracks, Tom, where it's now who's going to have enough tyres to get to the end?
Well, we'll see soon enough. I mean, Eddie Amos, who has not a lot to do, in all honesty, running in 14th. He is behind Bahidin Iron, a couple of places ahead of him, who had pitted for repairs and another set of tyres put on. I want to have a look at Irons' lap times. No, he's only just done his first out lap on the new set. So we'll see where he is in regards to the times compared to those around him. And that could be someone trying to make up some ground. I mean, he's got 12 seconds to make it up. Another new fast of the race from Tony Jimenez.
I don't know if he's going to have enough. I don't know if he's going to have enough. He needs to be doing this, and he needs to be doing this a lot quicker. Aberdeen was slower over 21, 22 and 23, but he's only pulling in temps. And with 9 laps to go, that's only 9 temps. And that isn't enough. That will bring him within the 1.1, 1.2 second mark. He has to be pulling out half a second, 3 temps, 4 temps, 5 temps, to be really making an impression on Lee Aberdeen. And at the moment, he hasn't got enough in that locker to basically be able to pull that gap out.
Well, Jimenez is getting the gap down big time. It feels like there's more than just 1/10 on this lap, because it was around about 2.4, 2.5 at the beginning of this. It's now 2.1. So we'll see the lap times when they next cross over the line, James. Here's the head through Chateau again. Yeah, you can clearly see Jimenez is getting the gap down. This is more than a 10th on this one.
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%. At least 2 or 3 at the bare minimum.
Right, Adam Townsend's just past Clark Williams. Clark Williams is... Oh, well, it looks like Williams has just had a drama with Van Veen. I want to see what this lap time is. I think he's just got that... Unfortunately, got that corner all wrong. I don't think that's going to be... Oh, he managed to get free. Well, we're going to find out. I do want to find out what happened here, though, because there was a lot of drama going on with Clark Williams and Richard Van Veen. Now, whether or not this was all together... Oh, son, you're too fast already. Too fast. Back end's on its way. Take care. As well. Now, did he hit Van Veen? No. So Van Veen did something completely on his own then. Did he get... Oh, he's already lost his side pod, Van Veen. Look at his rear right. You can see the inner workings of that car. Just
Yeah,
couldn't get the car stopped there.
Where has he lost that then? Because that seems to have been lost a long time ago. He's at the back of the field anyway. But there goes Eddie Amos on... That's not Andy Flint, is it?
No, it's Adam Townsman. They have a little bit of a ding-dong. They go backwards and forwards, and then all of a sudden, Amos does manage to hold on to it, but they're running side by side all the way through, which is a great job for them, and then unfortunately they just backs out. I'm not entirely sure where he got that from for Ian, and I'm wondering whether or not he's had a not Ian, Van Veen, whether or not he had contact. He got involved in something here. Now, did he lose? He's got it there.
Yeah, so the side pod's there. I think someone ran into the... this is at the beginning of the race, James.
Yeah, but watch. I think you'll find that it's there.
Yeah.
I think that was
Patrick Rowlands.
Yeah, Rowlands goes and nose deeps him. And you can see where Van Veen lost it, because he's going to come around the corner. Rowlands is going to do the same thing. He's managing to hold it, and then bang, and there it goes. So that's where Van Veen lost that one after an investigatory work there. But however, Patrick Rowlands and Richard Van Veen are back together on the racetrack again. So who knows what's going to happen?
It looks like Yunus Amal has had enough, or he may have lost connection, because from time to time he does tend to flicker during the session, does Yunus Amal. We'll find out soon enough what has happened to the Moroccan, part of the Unity Racing team. Lee Aberdeen is still a couple of seconds clear over Jimenez. I think they are they coming up to the back markers? Well, that's a look up there from Richard Van Veen, who's in a battle with Patrick Rowlands, not for the first time. In fact, that's Lee Aberdeen right behind them.
Yeah, that's the leaders. I don't think the leaders are going to... I don't think these guys are going to get involved. They've been around. Oh, Van Veen.
Well, you say that.
Been around
Well,
the
they
block.
know that Aberdeen's coming up behind them.
Yeah,
Well,
there you
Rowland
go.
gets out of the way. What does Richard Van Veen do?
That's half a second Jimenez got on that one. I don't think Van Veen's going to do anything crazy. He will get a shout. He's asking him to go inside. He's asking you to go inside. There we go. You can see that already, the way his body nature, or the way the car's positioned coming out of that corner. He was already asking for the guys to go up in on the inside there. However, for Van Veen doing that, he lost a place to Patrick Rowlands. You sneaky little rascal, you. Taking the most out of that one after letting the back markers through. He's asking you to go round him now as well.
The second guessing, James. There's been some confusion between Van Veen and Rowlands. I think they couldn't decide who wants to go where, but that could have been disastrous. But when Jimenez was going through to lap them.
I think the thing is, Aberdeen went through, Van Veen slowed down. Van Veen thought it was Jimenez in behind him, so he let the next car through, but it wasn't, it was Patrick Rowlands. Now, these two are fighting for position. So Rowlands then decided, I feel guilty, actually, about taking his position away, knowing that he was slowing down for the leader. So I'm going to let Jimenez through, and then they got confused about who was letting who through between Van Veen and Clark, and between Van Veen and Rowlands, and then it was a very much chuckle brother moment of to me to you, to me to you. Now they've managed to sort it out. Hopefully, they'll go into battle again for the final 6 laps, but that's probably what I'm guessing of what was going on there.
Van Veen is locking up at every braking zone. I've watched him go through. He is all over the place, is Van Veen, and Rowland gets out of the way of Ludwig Runcon, heading through and putting a lap on them. Yeah, Richard Van Veen. I know he's in 17th position, but he's had a race to forget with that side pod damage. Just watch him go through the Adelaide hairpin, James, because I bet he's going to make a massive lock-up right in front of Patrick Rowlands, who's trying to get through on him.
You reckon?
Yeah. Yeah, lock up again. Even though he had made the apex, he locked up as he tried to get the power down. He won't need to be on the brakes through here because it's not a braking zone, but perhaps through the 180 hairpin.
Well, we'll find out here whether or not Van Veen is going to do that, of course. Manages to get through the 180 okay without any dramas. 20 on lap 28. Rowland still pushing Van Veen to his limit here. Van Veen's trying and trying. He's got Rancon in. The problem is they've got Brad Fulliger, who's not far behind him either. So how are they going to work this one out? Oh, there's a lot of
massive lockup.
Yeah.
It's that corner. It's that corner especially, James, where Richard Van Veen has been locking up the most at.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. When you're under pressure, though, you do start making silly mistakes. Oh, there we go again.
He can't get it slowed down. He cannot get it slowed down at all.
No.
And that's worrying.
No, it's worrying because he either needs to brake earlier, or it's worrying because his tyres are gone. And as Eunice has just said in YouTube chat, Bono, my tyres are gone. So I think, yeah, Eunice didn't manage to get to the end of the race, and this is why poor old Eunice Amal did not manage to get to the end of the race here. Sliding before he even goes into the chicane. Sliding on the way out. He's going to hit the curve. Is he going to... Oh, Eunice just pulled over. Dude. You've got to carry on and score some points. It's only a 25-car grid, dude. Clark Williams is still out there, and he's done this more times than anybody I can think of at the moment. That's deja vu. I'm sure he's done that once already.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
Because he spun on the apex. This time around, he's spun in reverse off the circuit.
Yeah. Ooh, Amos. He's got Ian tucked in behind him. It's going to be a battle for Eddie if he can hold on to this one.
Well, Ian will be on better tyres compared to Amos, so I don't expect this to be too much of a contest, although Amos will try and get his elbows out if he can help it.
I hope so. There's nothing worse than people rolling over. Amos there. Through the inside of Adelaide. Ian on the right, on the outside of Adelaide. Oh, Amos, you tightened it up too much. You tightened it up. You tried to apply the power. Is he going to manage? Oh, he managed to hold it, though. Fair play. Through Nürburgring they go. Amos under deep pressure here at the moment. He has got this car tucked in right behind him of Ian through 180. Amos runs a little bit wide. It's going to be side by side on the exit now as well. On the run down into Imola. Better than Ian. Through he goes. And is he going to now pull away from Amos? Or do you reckon Amos is going to be able to hang on? I don't know what's going on down here, but I can just tell you there was a lot of drama happening between these three cars of Rowlands, Andy Flint, and it's not Yukish, Rowlands, Flint, and Richard Van Veen a little bit further down.
Well, at least Flint has managed to get himself back into the action. He's going through on Rowlands at the Nürburgring chicane. Rowlands has to go off the circuit to avoid running into him. That is Flint through into 17th place. Clark Williams has retired as well after a sequence of spins he has had throughout this race. I'm surprised he didn't just carry on and get to the finish, in all honesty, for Clark Williams. But Ian is now through on Amos at last, so Ian is doing to P11, and that is as far as he's going to go. Richard Van Veen locks up, and Flint spins.
And there is my point of the Maverick. That is Andy Flint. He went in quick. Then he tried to hit the brakes to not smack into Van Veen, and unfortunately the car went round the corner, and that is the problem. Richard Van Veen has got a meatball. Now, why have you got a meatball?
He's had further damage on top of what he's already accomplished. So looking at his steering,
doesn't look like he's got any problems there, but clearly...
I've got a feel, I wonder if he's trying to fight the steering wheel a little bit to keep it straight, because can you see it slightly to the left, like very slightly pointing left on the steering wheel when he's going in a straight line. So as he applies the throttle, yeah, you can just see it's slightly going left, and he's trying to counter it.
Something's definitely broken in that car for Van Veen, and he will have to go into the pit lane on board with Patrick Rowlands now in behind. I don't think is Van Veen going to get to the end. 31, 32. Oh, he might be able to without a penalty, because it is within 3 laps apart from the end of the race, of course. So he might be lucky, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But I think this is going to be Rowland's opportunity to go through now and get the job done on Richard Van Veen and look at motoring forward.
Well, I think the fact that Van Veen's locked up so many times, Rowlands deserves to get past him, because Van Veen's has been, well, he's having to cope with the damage, and I think he has no right to keep hold of the position considering the state of his car. Yeah, Rowlands goes past, and hopefully Rowlands will keep it for good now, and Van Veen will come into the pits, and he does.
Yeah, he does. And that's it. Rowlands is on his bike. So pick up the leader of Mr. Lee Aberdeen, who's lapped everybody up to Matthew Gracie, who is literally down there in the bottom right-hand corner. And for Lee Aberdeen now, he's managed to settle that gap. He's pulled away from Jimenez, who's not been able to close up as much as we thought. And now on their way to another victory here for Lee Aberdeen. It's tough to look past him for this season.
2 seconds is the gap, but for Aberdeen, it feels like a country mile for him, and he's going to be extending his lead at the top. It'll be win number 3 this season. We've run some on course for a podium on home turf as well. For Ridgeway has done well to keep hold of 5th place after that, coming together with Alexei Yukish, wasn't it, at the Adelaide hairpin. Did well to survive that, did Ridgeway, but he's on course for a well-deserved 5th place. Jimmy DeSantos and Mehmet Tasker performed well today. Scott Taylor, we've hardly spoke about Scott Taylor in this race. But there hasn't been anything too major, really, has there?
No, Scotty Taylor pulled out. He's gained 10 places. Aberdeen's just going to come and start the final lap. There's the white flag there. Barney's waving. However, Taylor needs to be a little bit careful. He's got a little bit of a blinking internet problem. And I don't mean as in his internet's causing his stuttering, basically. That's what I'll say. Maybe I should word that a little bit better. Biden Ayan has just made a mistake, and that's allowed Eddie Amos back through once again. This man seems to be the master of his own downfall this evening.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's a good job he was a few seconds up the road from Eddie Amos, because had Eddie Amos been directly behind him, that could have been an accident.
Absolutely.
Because he wouldn't have known where Ian was with that blinker.
No. But now Ian's going to have to try and go at him. He hasn't got long to go, mind you. Oh, they've still got 1 lap, actually, because they haven't crossed the line as of yet. Lee Aberdeen is on his run, on his way down to Imola Corner, down into Chateau d'Eur. And he's just going through there. These guys are going to have 1 more lap. There's Lee Aberdeen. Is he going to come over the line? It looks like he's going to take another victory here. It's going to be 3 wins for Lee Aberdeen, 4 second places, and we're only up to round 8 next week at Road Atlanta. Lee Aberdeen has got a few more corners to go through the right-hander. He's got 1 more chicane to get right. Through he goes. Don't bounce it. Take it easy. Lee Aberdeen, winner, winner. Chicken dinner here at Magny Cours. Tony Jimenez goes over in 2nd place there. Ludovic Rancon is going to come over in 3rd. Great job from him. Over the line he goes 3rd. And then we got Brad Fulliger in 4th. Adam Thalsma and Bird and Ian are going to carry this on for another half a lap here, Tom. And this one ain't done either.
No, this is for 12th position between Ian and Thalsma. And Ian's dropped back from the battle he had with Eddie Amos. I think Thalsman's probably going to run out of opportunities. He's not even close enough to even consider an attempt. He'll give it a good old go. But a good win for Lee Aberdeen. Win number 3 this season. And Tony Jimenez is his closest challenger, finishing 2nd. And Ludwig runs on the next closest, bagging a podium position on home turf. Ian makes a mistake through Chateau. This could be Telsman's chance. If he could just get into the slipstream and maybe catch Ian by surprise, at least say, that could be 12th position going in the way of him.
Oh, Ian's on the defense. He's made another mistake on the final lap. He went on the defense early. He got it wrong. That let Adam Townsma through. Townsma takes the position away. And that is literally because Bayan Ayan went on the defense early. He was mirror driving all the way through that run down into that corner. And he got it completely wrong. Got it wrong. And he goes, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a prime example of why you do not mirror drive in the car. Because that is what becomes the problem. Right, let's have a look at the results of that one. After some great action over 33 laps, Lee Aberdeen is your winner, the 3rd of the season for him. Another one inside the top 2. The man hasn't been out of it all season long. Then Tony Jimenez in second, Ludovic Rancon third, Brad Fulliger in fourth, who had quite a quiet race, didn't really see much of Brad. Robert Ridgway in fifth, then Jimmy DeSantos, Mehmet Taski and Scotty Taylor. Then you got Nguyen in ninth, Julio Palacio, Eddie Amos, Adam Townsber, Baden and Dorian Oruro and Matthew Gracie. Manon, please tell me how to say that name. He sent me I'm sure he sent me an MP4 and I can't actually find it in my DMs, which is a little bit annoying. Then we got Matthew Gracie and Patrick Rowlands, Andy Flint, Alexi Yukish, Richard Van Veen, Clark Williams 5 laps down, who didn't finish, Unisamo, Koji Ito, all didn't finish either. And then on below that is Chris Patel, Kevin Swepstra and Jose Gill. So there we go. That wasn't that bad. The racing, I thought, was actually quite good, to be honest.
I couldn't agree more. It was good racing, but hopefully we'll get more of that in Road Atlanta next week. But a good win for Lee Aberdeen from pole position. It looked like Tony Jimenez was reeling in a little bit until he dropped off in the final few laps. But you can't take anything away from Lee Aberdeen's drive this evening. He was just unstoppable.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be unstoppable for the season. Let us know down in the comments below if you do watch it back what you think of this one. But that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been JP. I've been alongside Tom Cairns here this evening. And as always, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.